Okay, so we are solving this for x. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm just going to do some rearranging. So I've got negative 2 cos of 3x. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to plus 1 to both sides. So now I have 1 over here. And then my next step is going to divide both sides by negative 2. So I'm going to get cos of 3x is equal to negative a half. And let's remind ourselves that our domain is between 0 and pi. I'm just going to write this a little differently. I'm just going to write it like this, 0 to pi. I just prefer writing it like that. The next thing that I'm going to do is realize that because I have a coefficient in front of my x, I need to do something about that. So I'm going to say let theta equal 3x. So that means I'm going to be left with cos of theta is equal to negative a half. Now, the fact that I've done this means I have to deal with my domain, because as you can see at the moment, my domain is in x. So what I'm going to do is, because I know that I'm going to let theta equal to 3x, I'm going to multiply this by 3, and that means I'm multiplying everything here by 3. So that means I'm going to be left with 3x is an element of, now 0 times 3 is 0, and pi times 3 is 3 pi. Now, as you can see, I've got 3x, and I know that 3x is equal to theta. So that means I can say theta is an element of 0 to 3 pi. Having now done that, I've now changed my question in such a way that I'm just going to be looking at this now. So this is something I can deal with. And we're going to approach it as we normally approach these types of questions. So just solving trigonometric equations, when you've got something like this, I'm going to find what my reference angle is going to be. Now, hopefully you can see this and say, well, cos of what angle is going to be equal to a half? So remember, when you're finding the reference angle, you're ignoring the sign in front. So you're just saying cos of what angle is going to be equal to a half. Hopefully you're able to just say, hey, that's pi on 3. But if you're not able to do that, you can just draw your special triangle. 2, 1 square root of 3. It's cos, so it's going to have to be adjacent hypotenuse, meaning I'm dealing with this angle right here, and that angle is pi on 3. So therefore, we know that the reference angle is going to be pi on 3. So remember, when you're finding the reference angle, you're just ignoring the sign in front of it, and maybe you're able to do it just by memorization, or maybe you have to draw your special triangle and figure out which angle, this one or this one, you're dealing with. Once you've done that, what you then have to consider is which quadrants you care about. So if I was just to draw a unit circle like this, draw myself that is ugly. Let's see if we can do that again. That's a bit better. I'm dealing with cos, and I know that cos is my x-axis. Then I've got negative a half. Well, that's going to be here. So that means I'm dealing with this quadrant, which is my second, and I'm dealing with this quadrant, which is my third. So I'm dealing with my second and third quadrants. So even though I've written down that my reference angle was pi on 3 isn't going to be one of my solutions. Rather, one of my solutions will be, what is pi on 3 in my second quadrant? Well, that is 2 pi on 3. And what is pi on 3 in my third quadrant? That's going to be 4 pi on 3. Having now done that, I'm going to look up here at my domain, and as you can see, my domain is from 0 to 3 pi. So I'm going to have to keep adding on. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to plus 2 pi onto it. Now, if you're worried that you're going to make a little bit of a mistake here, just come over to the side, go 2 pi over 3 plus 2 pi, and say, all right, I'm going to have to give them common denominators, so I'm going to times the bottom by 3. I'm going to times the top by 3. So it's going to be 6 pi on 3, which is the same as 2 pi, which is going to leave me with 8 pi on 3. So this right here is going to be 8 pi on 3. Now, if you were to do it again, plus 2 pi here, this is going to be, again, plus 6 pi on 3, which is going to leave me with 10 pi on 3. And hopefully what you'd realize is that 10 pi on 3, well, think 3, 6, 9, it's bigger than 3 pi. So that means we're not going to include that one. We ignore that one. We just care about these first 3 here. Having now done that, what I like to do now is, well, we know that our answer has to be in terms of x. We don't want theta is equal to something. Rather, we want x is equal to something. And the reason why we know that is because our original question is with x. So we can't now answer in theta. That'd be madness. So we know what theta is. Theta is 3x. So let's just write down exactly what we have here. 3x is equal to 2 pi on 3, is equal to 4 pi on 3, is equal to 8 pi on 3. Then the next thing that I would do is I would say I need to get rid of this 3. So I'm going to times it by 1 on 3. And that means I'm going to times this by 1 on 3. I'm going to times this by 1 on 3. I'm going to times this by 1 on 3. So now this 3 goes away. And I've got x is equal to, so I'm just timesing my denominator by 3. So it's going to be 2 pi on 9, 4 pi on 9, and 8 pi on 9. And that right there is my solutions. Perfect. And that's how you would approach a question like this. So as you can see, there's a few steps there, and it can seem a little complicated, but with practice comes perfect. Practice makes perfect, rather. And there you go. So hopefully you found this useful in answering this question and just kind of going through the nitty-gritty of it all. I'll see you in the next video.